But how much of fashion do you think is subjective? Because if you say all of it is subjective and it's a personal thing, then I disagree with you. But I'm interested to know how.
It's up until a point, like mentioned like before, that fashion is intertwined with things like society, cultural norms, tradition, right? So now there's no real sort of objectivity to these things, but over time there's become expected standards and just expected reactions to certain things that you may wear in particular cultures, right? And that in a sense, and you know, these sort of, let's call them sort of fashion standards, right? Like these are real things that like can't really be ignored, and if you sort of do ignore them, they're going to get you in more trouble than not. You know, if you're going to say that.
But do you think they are standards for an objective reason, or do you think they're standards because it was someone's idea at first and gradually through the years it just became the standard?
I think you've got examples of both.
Yeah, yeah.
But honestly, I think that the ones that are really hard to break are the ones that have gone through time. Because I don't know. It's just it's hard to break human culture, you know. It's hard to break. But at the end of the day, though, I had mentioned before that fashion isn't like the only sort of way to express yourself. You know, if someone, so like you can put less value on fashion as an individual, and you know that is fair. You know, for certain people, that level of, I don't want to say judgment, because that sounds wrong. I'm never going to judge someone for wearing something, really. But
I think you should.
you think so?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's their choice to represent a certain image, and if that image comes across, I think you can. It depends what you mean by judge. If like you're looking down at them and feeling a very negative way towards
Or form
them,
a perception, or like start forming.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're giving, by dressing in that way, they're giving you the right to do so.
Yeah.
I don't want, if I dress in a specific way, right? I'm first of all, it's because it's for other people's eyes. So, you know, I don't believe in the, oh, I dress for myself. This is going to be another discussion, but I only dress for myself. I don't care what other people think. If that's what you're saying, then you just don't, in my opinion, don't really understand how it works.
Yeah.
You dress for other people. Those are the people that are looking you everywhere you walk.
Yeah.
You don't look at yourself when you walk. And if you dress in that specific way, you're allowing someone to think certain things of you.
Yeah.
And at that point,
it's not effective. It might actually be true for some people, but it's not really an effective way.
yeah, but it's your responsibility initially to dress the way you want to dress.
Okay.
As soon as you dress, I think you forfeit the ability to say you can't have, you know, this idea of me just because I'm dressed this way. Just because I've got my hair cut this way. As soon as you do, you represent an image.
Yeah.
And as soon as you choose to represent that image, you can be.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's no point being naive.
Yeah.
And you know, things signal different things, man. You know, whether you like it or not. Sagging your trousers, all right, not to the extent it used to, but it has connotations of just gang stuff, or
Yeah.
like or just lower class. Unfortunately, I still sag my trousers, but it is what it is.
I mean,
if you're wearing crop tops and that as a girl, unfortunately, it's not as bad as it once was, but unfortunately, to certain people, that's gonna signal negative stuff towards you.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So we can't be naive about these things.
definitely can't be. And I like to stress the fact that it's not unfair, right? A lot of people deem it to be unfair. I don't think it's.
Why do you not think it's unfair?
Because there are so many things in the world that are unfair, that if you boil it down to, it's unfair that, you know, I've been stopped and searched by the police, right? And I was wearing a hood and a tracksuit, right? If I stopped there and I was like, oh, it's unfair that I've been stopped and searched, I haven't done anything, then no. I disagree. It's unfair when you take everything, when you choose to act and dress and behave in all the proper manners, and then things that shouldn't happen to you still happen to you, right? If I dressed in a full suit,
Oh, so you know, so you just, not to interrupt, yeah, but so you have, because you've just said proper manners, innit?
yeah,
And obviously we talked about fashion standards before. So obviously you would ask me the question of whether fashion's subjective, but do you agree that there's like objective like ways to do things?
it's hard for me. I think there are objective ways to do things, but it's also been built through my tradition and my culture and growing up in Italy. And my dad is very harsh about certain things, and now I'm harsh about them. Right?
Yeah.
Even the minute details. I still say that I'm not fashionable in that sense. I still don't understand it fully. I really want to. I haven't put too much effort towards it, so I can't complain about not understanding it yet. But I do want to understand it deeper. And if you think about Italian fashion, it's been hundreds of years that it's been, refined, year in year out. And also when you look at the bigger brands, they're now unfortunately not as Italian as they used to be. They're owned by bigger corporations that are either multinational, lots of them in France, who hire creative directors and other people within the brand that don't look at the traditional values that the brands were built upon. Armani is the easiest example of them, right?
Yeah.
Owned by LVMH, actually not owned by L'Oreal, I think, yes, which of course is an Italian brand. But I think it is objective. I think there are things that have been, it's like traditional recipes, and people will disagree with me simply because they're not traditional people. They don't like traditional things. They like newer styles. But one thing that I think is objective that's been kind of lost is quality, because fashion to these days is about the way it looks as opposed to what something is, right?
Yeah.
It's very similar to food in the sense that a lot of people think, and I'm not saying that they're wrong, I'm saying that I think differently, that good food means good tasting food, as opposed to food that tastes good but also has great ingredients behind it. Yeah. Fashion used to buy a pair of shoes and you could wear them for 30 years. Now we buy a pair of Nike shoes and they last 2 years and we have to rebuy them. And I think when it comes to the objective side of fashion, it's understanding what a great piece of attire is.
Yeah.
That can be used throughout the years, that can be applied in different manners. And those things I'm yet to discover.